You are welcome to the Leadership Legacy podcast series. This is the maiden edition, and my name is Buki. And I have my partner here with me.
My name is Ify, and it's a pleasure to have you here on this series. This series is designed to inspire the next generation through the stories of those who have gone before us. And it's my pleasure to welcome our first guest, a very special person indeed, because he has been with us from the very beginning. The conceptualization and the ideation were all done with his help. Prince Dapo Adelegan, you're welcome to this series as our very first guest. And for those of you who don't know, Prince Dapo Adelegan is a serial entrepreneur, chairman of several companies, a mentor to many, and a leader of leaders. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you
You're
very much.
welcome,
Thank you,
sir.
Buki.
Happy to have you.
Thank you both.
So we'll go to our questions.
Sir, from everything that we've read, known about you, you have been the chairman and a very successful person in the private sector. You, including some organizations like PR Africa, Celtic Group, and you were the 14th president of the and chairman of the Council of the Nigerian-British Chamber of Commerce. So we want you to enlighten us about the challenges. Being the chairman of the Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce, I can imagine the top professionals and top leaders that you were able to manage. Now, tell us, how challenging was that? What was your experience, leading other great leaders?
Thank you very much, Buki. First, let me say that I'm honored and excited to be your first guest in this podcast. I know that it will go places and it will impact many lives. And because one of the foundational issues in the challenge of the country is that we do not learn from those who have experienced this. There are very few people that are sharing the experiences for the young ones to learn from. Coming back to the issue of leadership and my role as the president and chairman of council, I think it's important to go back to the beginning because I spent 22 years as a member, active member of the chamber, before I was invited to the presidency as the youngest president ever to be at the head of the biggest bilateral chamber in the country. So service is fundamental. I'd served for 22 years in various committees, in the council as vice president, deputy president. So there has been mentorship. Other leaders that one had worked with, we have watched them at close quarters. So service is critical to leadership. Leadership must be emergent. There must be processes. And then going back to even becoming president of the chamber, Providence also played a major role in trusting me into leadership at the age of 25 as a youth corper in Lagos to have founded the Lekki Sun Splash, what has literally led to the emergence of the Lekki Peninsula as an economic hub today. So if at 25 you are trusting to leadership, you are compelled to be organized, to be disciplined, to be focused, and so that was a preparation that led, to emergence. So I finished my presidency in 2018, and then that was also the 30th year of my entrepreneurship, self-employment in the country. So to a large extent, it was not education, it was providence. Because to be a CEO at 25 is difficult in this country. And not just as a CEO, I had to manage an economy, an event, I had to manage staff. I had people that relied on the success of that annual event, even the government itself. So to the extent that the success of that period, as well as the experience in the chamber, and then the successful execution of the mandate as president has also brought up other opportunities that were not anticipated. So I guess the reward for hard work is usually more hard work. So the lesson is to say leadership cannot be trusting. It must be, it is a process. It's a process of discipline, of mentoring, of seriousness, of focus. And then because if you don't have those processes and it's trust on you, you'll mess it up.
Thank you very much. I hear you say leadership is service. I also hear you say that leadership is not about your age. You can be thrust into positions of leadership at any age. So you must be disciplined and you must be focused to be able to achieve your goals for the organizations that you lead. So what would you say would be your most humbling moments in the course of this leadership trajectory? And how did it reshape your view of influence versus authority?
Okay, well, let me step back at the beginning again, because I believe this podcast is going to address a lot of young people to be inspired. As a youth corper, I'd gone to read English as first degree because my family wanted me to read law. So I'd finished my first degree. I was serving in Lagos at Bolade Grammar School, teaching English and literature, and preparing to enter University of Lagos Faculty of Law to read law. And the idea of a concert on the beach came. And, I wrote to the Lagos State government and things like that. So one of the fundamentals that are essential to leadership is confidence, the courage of conviction. A lot of young people are timid, and there is no leadership for timidity. You need to have courage. When a dream comes into your mind, don't look at the problems, look at the opportunities. So secondly, when eventually I did get the support I needed to make it happen, there was the issue of money. And that's where the principle of deferred gratification comes in. The generation coming ahead puts money ahead of issues, and that is wrong. I was asked how much I wanted to charge for the first lecture, and I said I wanted to be free. I mean, I needed the money, and so on and so forth. But something told me that if it was free, the crowd would be substantial enough for people to remember it happened, and the subsequent year's sponsorship will not be a problem. And I was dead right. 1 million people came because it was free. And by the next day, I had more than enough for the next 7 years in terms of sponsorship. And every other thing that I've done, or Providence has granted me to do subsequently today, is based on the foundation of that monumental success of 1 million people appearing at the Lekki Beach on December 26, 1988, 36 years ago. So I look back to say that if I had charged 5 naira, maybe 5,000 people would have come, and nobody would have remembered nothing happened. But even the governor of Lagos at that time, his children were stuck in the traffic till 5 a.m. in the morning. So the whole country knew Jesus Christ had landed at the Lekki Beach on that day. And they needed to see the guy that brought him. And so I had the opportunity to visit the governor, and he gave me 1.1 hectares of land with a C of O at the age of 25. And my life changed.
Wow.
Just that decision
Wow.
of deferred gratification.
Wow.
So humbling processes. Now, even getting to the chamber at 55 and having to superintend a council of Aliko Dangote and all the biggest names in the country was also humbling. So I recognized I was not going to be teaching them anything. I was going to be learning. So leadership by learning. So you sit at councils and listen to everybody and just aggregate their opinion rather than try to impose yourself. So even at the highest level of governance, of responsibility, learning is important. Humility is critical to survival. So to the extent that, yes, I've left the chamber's presidency, 4 other presidents have come, but people still assume I'm the president because of the impact of those 2 years in terms of collaboration, responsibility, humility. So those are life lessons that even at the beginning, they're humbling processes, and at the top, you still have to be humble.
Wow. This has been so impactful. Thank you, sir. Well, I want you to just help us highlight you were emphasizing at 25, becoming a leader, a business owner, meeting the governor, being handed over huge acres of land and all that. So what, if you can think back, what were the things that you actually did then? as in terms of your values at that time, in terms of your
Outlook.
yeah, your outlook and everything? What were the things that you
Well, I don't think it's about me, actually. I think the foundation was laid. What I always talk about providence itself. I think my religion teaches that everybody has been sent to this world by the Creator with a plan. There's a plan for your life. So I think the challenge is discovering that plan early. I discovered my own early. I lost my father at 11, 2 days into my secondary school life. And my mom was a caterer at the University of Lagos, and she said, "You are now my husband." So my mom, I think, compelled, because it was not easy getting a young man to become responsible at 11. So she compelled my responsible life. She made me very responsible very early. So at 11, I was already part of her business. When I'm going to secondary school, seventh grade school in the morning, the driver would drop me with a bucket of snack to sell during the break to my teachers. So I became an entrepreneur at 11 by force. It was not voluntary. I was not very happy with it, but she made it imperative that I had to become a supporter. So I tell people that I was programmed by my mom for responsibility at a very early stage and entrepreneurship. So I had the luck of a mother who did not indulge me, who made me work as a very early age. Since then, she was paying me. So she was giving me stipends. So I was probably the richest young boy in my generation, but she made me work. And I think that was the foundation of everything. So and that's important for parents to realize the fact that you can actually make your children what you want them to be by the way you bring them up and the things you tell them. My mother would tell me every time I'm going back to school that you're going to build my house for me. And I'm wondering, what kind of child abuse is this? I had friends whose parents had houses. My mother would be telling me from age 11 that I'll build a house. And so I suspect that even the early success I had was divine intervention to help me build a house. By 1989, I built my mom a first house at the age of 26 because that was a prayer. So it was a prayer. So when parents tell their children, "No, don't worry, I'll do everything for you," you are destroying their life. You need to let them know and say it, that they owe you this. They're going to do this. You are praying for them. And if a child is able to build a home for his or her parents at 26, that child is already wealthy.
Yes.
See, it's already wealthy to be able to do that. So I think I thank my mom. She's late now, but I think she laid that foundation. Secondly, I did not rebel against it, because you could have rebelled. You could have rebelled against it. I didn't. The spirit that allowed me to accept. I think empathy. I had sympathy for her. As a single mother. So that compassion for her allowed me to accept all the inconveniences when my friends were having fun. And then, interestingly, with those burdens of entrepreneurship, even my friends also wanted to join me in selling things, in getting involved. So the foundation is very critical for our future. What we want our children to be, we must inculcate in them at a very early stage. The tendency to encourage children to believe that they will have everything they want in life, is a disservice to their transformation. It's important that children are told expectations at a very early stage of their life. It helps them build. It has not been rosy, but I think even now at 63, there are still ideas coming, and there's still capability to make things happen, to impact, and that is the foundation that was laid. If the foundation is not there, there could be successes, but they will not be sustained. Because not only is success is good, ability to sustain successes, ability to build different curves from time to time is critical, because seasons change. Success in the 80s does not guarantee success in the 90s or in the 20s. So ability to go through all of those changes, irrespective. Nigeria is bad, you can still succeed. So the ability to go through it is the challenge of the coming generation. So that when they see a little problem, they jackpot. And where they're jackpot into, is probably worse than the jackpada. So I think the ability to build consistently, against any odds, any circumstances, with God's help. Then I think the God factor is also very important. My mother, very well. So the reason of the Bible, prayer availeth much. This generation sees prayer as something that is done at convenience. It is not possible. So having discipline, a sense of hard work, and understanding the God factor in all matters is also very critical for sustainable success and discipline. Yeah.
Great conversation right here. Great conversation. And I love the talking points you've given us. The courage of conviction. I read somewhere that courage is like fear that has said its prayers. So basically, you confront your fear, having said the prayers, with courage. You go for your dreams with faith backed courage. And I love that you mentioned the God factor. I mean, that's the foundation for all. And for those of us who are parents, you hit the nail on the head by saying programming our children from the beginning is a strong determinant of how they will succeed and how far they will go. And I think these are great words on marble, and we'll always remember them. And I appreciate you for coming here today.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I would just want you to speak more on confidence. Now, she has just said about courage. You see, it is a major challenge that holds people back. There are several people, not even just the young ones, but even people that adults that are still being held back due to lack of confidence. They don't have that courage, to pursue that dream, to go for the actual thing. And that might be part of the underlying things that is increasing the japa. Because yes, you see here, everything seems so fearful, and you are scared of it. You want to run away to somewhere where maybe things are more programmed and you can easily,
and predictable.
Yes, predictable, and you can easily go by. So,
okay, this is a very, very important question. I may not have answers for the older generation. I may not be able to help them. We just live and believe that God will help them if they're still afraid at 60. And fear is actually something not necessarily bad. I also wake up in the middle of the night sometimes remembering some commitment that are not yet done, or some things I've planned, or some expectations that have not come, and fear sets in. But within moments, I'm back again to say, look, it has happened before. So I have memories of worse situations that have been resolved. And that gives confidence that even the problem of today will also be resolved. So for the whole that, I've just said, look, whenever you're afraid, just close your eyes and think back to the other things that they say, count your blessings, count them one by one, and you will see that what the Lord has done. So many times, if you look back, we see many circumstances in the journey of life where the back was on the wall and providence had intervened. So when we remember those, then it gives us confidence that our current challenges will also be overtaken. But for the younger ones, I think what is fundamental is that, particularly with respect to the issues of Nigeria, there has to be, they don't read. You need to understand the historical foundation of your society. You need to understand that nations evolve. No nation can abridge its political, economic, evolution process. Every nation must pass through it. Our country is 60 years old. The countries we compare ourselves to are 3,000 years old. China is 5,000. America is in the 500th year of democratic experience, and they have gone through stages. Some of them in their 60th year were barbaric nations. In their 60th year, you couldn't even imagine. We're probably more civilized than they were in their 60th year. In England, for example, in the 100 and something years ago, there were kings who broke from the mother church because they had a proclivity for infidelity. And nothing happened. They called it the divine right of kings. And nothing happened. It broke the Catholic Church and created the Anglican Church. And went away with it. Those who opposed it, their heads were cut off in the Tower of London. Today, that country is the bastion of democracy, due diligence, human rights, but it evolved. America fought 2 civil wars. The foundation of their capitalism were about 5, 6 people who were robber barons. The Carnegies, the Vanderbilts, the JP Morgans, the Ford, the Rockefellers were robber barons. But their wealth is at the foundation of American prosperity today. So nations evolve. So when we look at our country and begin to wonder, oh, Nigeria is dead, it's finished, I'm running to Turkey, I'm going to China. It's just part of the process. Those countries who are going to went through their own political language process. So I encourage our youth to read more about the history of their nation. And maybe you don't remember that there was a time in this country where there was a regional government called the Western Nigerian government that had the first television station in 1952 before France. That built the first IRIs, that had a teaching hospital usage in Ibadan where the Saudi royal family would come for medical treatment. It was still the same Nigeria. There were rail lines from Apapa that went through factories at the back of Obakra to drop raw materials and take finished goods. There was a time we had a country, like China Achebe would say. So what happened was the military interregnum. They came in that summer and destroyed the foundation of our growth. Well, maybe they had good intentions, but their good intentions was a backslide for the country. So now that we've gotten back civilian, 20 years of civilian regime, we are rebuilding the foundations. That's going to be painful. So whoever is there will have to take us through these difficult times from 111 mil to 101 or 0101. I mean, it's a sacrifice we have to make. And the future is bright. By 2025, according to Goldman Sachs, 2075, Nigeria will be the 5th largest economy in the world. By 2050, we'll be 500 million people, the 3rd largest country after China and India. And if you look at the evolution of society, it started from Africa. Egypt was the first civilization, then the Greek civilization, then it came to the Romans, then it came to the British. American century has ended or is ending. China is rising. When China begins to decline, like all empires rise and fall, it's Africa's turn again. And that's why I can say the clamor for raw materials. We have a billion population in Africa. We have the cheapest labor, and we have a 1 billion consumers. So, and the raw materials from lithium to oil to cotton is all in Africa. So everybody's bringing production line here. Because they know this is the next frontier. And if you look at our diaspora all over the world, they're in Google, they're in Ford, they're learning the technology because nobody gives it. They will come back with it. I want to stay, I'm 60, I'm begging God to make me about 120. So I'll have another 60 years again to witness the rise of Africa. So the young generation must understand the history of the country and the continent and our people as Africans and know where we're coming through and why we're going to come back. Civilization started in Africa, in Egypt. It's coming back after China to Africa.
Amazing. I hear you saying that our young people should be patient, should plug in somewhere where they can serve, be mentored, and then success is just a matter of a few years away. I thank you so much. Buki and I have just been nodding our heads and
Yes.
right, yes.
We've learned so much. And really, it's been a fantastic time with you, sir. And so you're saying patience. So while this patience is going and this hardship, how do you think people will be able to cope?
We're coping. We're just making sacrifices. I'm making sacrifices. I don't have three meals a day, and I do 101. So you should do your own 101. Or some are even doing 010. It's just part of sacrifice. And like I said, I'm not saying wait and be just opening your eyes. Learn your history. Know where you're coming from. Learn the history of other nations. Know how they've evolved. China closed its walls to civilization for 100 years. To discipline people, put them into a life of discipline and thrift. And today, China is leading the world. So our people must realize that societies make sacrifices. So when coalition and opposition are coming together, people are hungry, each of them are billionaires. The same people. Let them release their billion and feed people. They have just been political. This is not about, and they are creating uncertainty in the minds of our youth. I don't mind, my children are all in England, but they're programmed to come back very soon. They want to be educated, to be exposed, because technology is not going to be given to us. Our children must work and learn and earn and come back. Our parents went abroad to study. They came back after 10 years. And they were the foundation of the Renaissance that happened in the early 70s and 80s. So it's not the end of the world. Nigeria is not dying. Nigeria is one of the greatest nations in the world. It has all the resources, both natural, human capacity, and probably the most ambitious and confident people in the continent. And they must travel, not to England and America. Go to Togo, go to Benin, go to Ghana, go to Abidjan, go to Burkina Faso, go to Kenya, go to South Africa. We are the only country in the world where the black man owns his resources and manages it. Other countries up to South Africa, if the white man is not behind you, you're not going anywhere as a black man. So it's not just by mistake. Nigeria is the leader of the black world.
Now,
and so some people must tell the young people, and we should put them in a hall and enlighten them about the society in which they were born into and their future. And maybe when they see that picture, they will have a renewed confidence in today and their future. So we're coming back again, and the foundations are being relaid. So the youth needs to, and then secondly, there's the issue of elite consensus. Any society is endowed with elites, either through education, achievement, inheritance, and so on and so forth. So in the UK, for example, there was an elite consensus after the two revolutions in Russia and France that for the monarchy to survive, there has to be an engagement with the masses. And they came up with a welfare state. And they decided that there will be bus at every bus stop in every town in the United Kingdom every 5 minutes, every day, except on Christmas Day. So that is not rocket science. It was an elite consensus. So when you drive from VGC or Ajah to Lekki Phase 1 and see many people at the bus stop without buses, without bus stops, it is an elite consensus. We have refused to do the things we need to do preemptively to ensure that our masses are comfortable. Mortgages for children from 18 is elite consensus. Student loan is elite consensus. And NHS that offers free medical service to all members of the British National is elite consensus. So there has to be a discussion of the elite, both in public and private sector, on what kind of society we want and do the needful. 25% of the GDP preemptively provide for the masses, so that your wealth can be contained and transferred seamlessly from one generation to the other. So those are some of the fundamental issues we need to speak to give our youth confidence that this country has a future. And I did talk about the rise and falls of empire. So everything has worked together at this time to make Africa the focus of the world. Whatever anybody is saying, they're pretending. This is where it is. So your future is very bright. The future of our youth are very bright. If they jackpot, they must jackpot with the intention to go and steal the technology and come back, because not given on a platter of gold. So that we have those conversations, I think, needs to be had. And there has to be deliberate campaign to enlighten our youth on the future of the country so that we don't have crisis on our hand.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prince. Yes, and so just this last one. You have said we should definitely work around getting everybody educated. I would say not just the youths, but really everybody educated. But how do we incorporate this into the school curriculum in terms of, the right history? Like this rich quality of information you've given us, how do we get it into the school's curriculum so that?
Well, I think the first thing first is that confidence has been lost. We have lost our moral authority, and therefore there's a total disconnect between the elites and the members of society. We must rebuild that first. If you're asking a teacher to teach well and his salary has not been paid, he's not sure of his pension, you're wasting your time. So I think the first thing first is the elite consensus. A welfare state must be established. We must take the first step by preemptively providing for our people. As a matter of fact, let compassion be at the basis of all policy formulation and development. Let us first give our people the basics: health, education, transportation, housing. If we do that first, then they will listen to us. We've lost the moral authority. We can't tell anybody anything. How can a society this rich be also so blessed? It's paradox. So the elite are still in the state of denial. I'm part of them. But we are campaigning that there must be a discussion about the future of our society. And it's only the elite that can make it happen. And it's not expensive. Just 20% of our GDP will deal with it. And they can run with the 80% and continue to enjoy their lives. But if they refuse to do this now, one of these days, they will also have to jackpot. So we can't ask for the lecturers, we can't ask the teachers, we can't ask people to do anything because they themselves, look at the state of our university. Lecturers are not carrying placards like common workers. There's something fundamentally wrong. And it's the elite, from political, economic, social elite, traditional institutions. There has to be a discussion of the future of Nigeria. And that's why I said maybe we should go on a roadshow to talk about future Nigeria and make this, get a newspaper to partner with us and report it. It's not about the next election. It's about the future. What kind of society we're looking for. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prince. It's been a great time with you. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Prince Adelegan. It's been a rich conversation. We're so glad to have you as our guest on today's podcast. See you again at the next episode.